Hi there. Welcome to The PrevenTable, the podcast giving you a seat at the table with conversations about the intersection of alcohol, drugs, and mental health in everyday lives. Take a seat and join us.
Welcome to The PrevenTable. With me today is Lily Geiger, and she is the founder of Philia. Am I saying that right? Philia.
Yes,
Philia?
you are.
All right,
yes.
great.
Mm-hmm.
So, Lily, this product, I'm going to get ready to taste it here pretty soon. But first of all, I want to take a step back because, there might be people that are watching this that are going, wow, she seems young. How did she get to do this? How did this product come into being? Have you always been an entrepreneur? Where does that spirit come from?
Yeah, that's a good question. I can't say that I went into college at least or grew up knowing that I, had an entrepreneurial spirit. I think that I definitely developed most of those thoughts towards my career once I actually entered the workforce after college. And I think I was able to work for some small companies, smaller than, the companies that at least my friends were working for. And it gave me, I think, more of an opportunity to get involved in ways that I could actually make an impact. So that was really cool for me. And I think having that experience made me want to do my own thing. So, yeah.
Excellent. So let's talk about your own thing. So like I said, I have not tried this yet, but I'm going to today. Everyone who has tried it tells me it's amazing. All right. So first of all, there's your kudos right away. E&E at Sans Bar. She's always telling me how awesome it is. So the name is Philia. And what I love, let's just talk about the bottle here for a little bit, because I love that you have the translation on it. And the English translation of the word is daughter. And then you have a tribute to the power of family, the given and the chosen, very important, a community built for honest conversations, to offer a seat at the table and lend an ear. Hello, have you heard of us, PrevenTable? That's like our motto, is like leading the conversation. So this is so great. To serve the good stuff and talk about the hard stuff, to laugh, cry, and think together. I love this already. So talk to me about the definition and what does this product mean?
Yeah, so coming up with the name, I think, was difficult because I wanted it to be something that would make sense for the product, obviously. But I would say, really wanted to honor the reason why I started Philia. So for those who don't know, I grew up with an alcoholic parent. My dad was an alcoholic from, as long as I can remember, and passed away from alcoholism when I was 20 years old. And so I think...
sorry.
Thank you. Yeah, it was really hard. And I think it's something that if anyone's, dealt with addiction and has been related to or loved someone who is battling with addiction, it consumes you. So I think I wanted to do something in life eventually, didn't know what that would look like yet, that honored that and that worked towards helping people that are battling with especially alcoholism. So I think coming up with a name felt right. It means daughter in Italian. So yeah, that's definitely why.
So you, the daughter, this is sort of an homage to the role that we play in a family where there is addiction.
Totally.
Yeah, and that it's a tribute to the power of family, honest conversations, serving the good stuff, and talking about the hard stuff. Why do you think it's so hard to talk about the hard stuff? I mean, I know that sounds like, why is it hard to talk about the hard stuff?
Right.
But why aren't we just more honest?
I think generally, that's hard to answer, but I think as it relates to drinking and the dark side of drinking and addiction, it's really hard because if you are related to someone who is an alcoholic and an addict in general, you don't really want to tell people about it because people don't trust that person. If they hear something like that, they won't think of them in the same way. And so it kind of puts you in this position where you're dealing with something that is really life altering and really upsetting and scary, but you also are kind of forced to keep it a secret and to kind of sweep it under the rug. And for me, that, took form in going to school and having, dealt with this at home and not being able to have these honest conversations with friends, peers, teachers, whatever, because that was really something that I was taught to not do, because I didn't want to embarrass my parent and I didn't want to have anyone think of him differently. So I would say in that regard, it's hard to have those types of conversations. I also think it's really hard to have those conversations, about the dark side of drinking, because people don't want to think about alcohol in that way. Sometimes, when you're at a table where everyone's having a glass of something, or, if you're looking in magazines and you're seeing these ads, or you're seeing, a show like Sex and the City where they're having cosmopolitans and martinis, like it's elegant. It's supposed to be, this fun, sophisticated thing. It's supposed to be chic. And so I think not everybody wants to have that conversation.
Mm-mm. Yeah. It's like, and when you bring it up, sometimes it's like the lead balloon in the conversation, or like you just let all the energy out, like you just suck all the energy out of the room. And yet, many times, and it's trite, but I think it's really true, is that it's the secrets that keep us sick. Right? If we can't talk about those things, that whether it's alcoholism or, suicide or self-harm or whatever, if we can't, or even like financial trouble, right? Like, I don't know about you, but that was never anything we talked about growing up. And we certainly never really talked about the big elephant in the room, which was substance use disorders and its impact on my family and other families. So I love that you have created this product that encourages conversations about the hard stuff, and that, as the bottle says, it creates moments you want to remember, not that you might want to forget. Right. And with this drink, you actually can remember the moments.
Yeah. And I think
because
that
it gives you,
Oh, I was just going to say, I think having those conversations is really sobering for a lot of people. It's, and that's not even as it relates to drinking. It's just like, you're kind of having a reality check. You're like, all right, having these conversations means that I might have to rethink my own patterns and my own, routines in my life that might not be what I originally thought they were, or they might not be healthy. And that might be something that you think about as a parent for yourself. And then you think, all right, are these habits healthy, like for my kid to see and for my kid to be around? So it's interesting.
Yep.
To think about.
I totally agree with you. It is sobering, which is kind of a good pun, but it's also very true. Right. And it holds the mirror up to your face, even if maybe you don't want to see what's looking back at you. Right. So are you Italian?
I'm not, actually.
What the heck is an aperitivo? Pretend I know nothing, even though I know nothing about this. What is an aperitivo?
Yeah, so an aperitivo is basically something that I spent a few months in Italy in college.
Jealous.
It was really, it was a great experience for me. And I noticed that everyone would have an aperitivo pretty much right before dinner. It would be to kind of ready their palate for dinner. It would be something that they would savor and enjoy over conversation. It would be kind of a time in the day to, debrief or unpack or just, discuss, laugh. And then, aperitivo, as it relates to like the drink, is, something that is like readying the palate. Like the extracts that we've used, I think, were carefully selected, to not be too overpowering, to not like completely leave this taste in your mouth where like, I actually can't shake it. I can't move on to my
Yeah. Like you don't want like mint right before you're going to eat, right? Because then like everything you're eating tastes like mint. So it's something that can just like kind of awaken your taste buds and like get you ready.
Totally.
All right. So the bottle says that you recommend this poured over ice, right? And this is it looks like one Fiore. Is that correct?
Correct.
So does that imply that there might be more to come if this is one?
Yeah, definitely. I think that we were very intentional with labeling using numbers because we would love to expand. So, yeah.
And this has rose, bitter orange, and clove. You recommend pouring it over ice, spritzing with seltzer or tonic, and adorned, I love the language, with an orange peel. But you also say, encourage you to experiment in your own kitchen and add to it whatever feels right. So Annie has told me that I need to have it over ice. So that's what we have here. And as you can see, they've drank a lot of this. So lucky that we had some left. So do I need to like swirl it or shake it or anything, or just go for it?
Sure. Yeah. You can give it a little,
a little thing. I can pretend like, a little zhuzh. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. So I taste the clove for sure.
Yeah.
But it's like not like overpowering, right? It's not like, it doesn't like smack you in the face.
Yeah.
And then the bitter orange, like you get for sure. And then the rose is like there, but it's not, I don't know. It's not like rose. Like it's like in the background.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Am I tasting it in that right order, or does it hit everybody's palate a little differently?
I'm sure. Yeah. Everyone's different. I'm sure, it affects everyone differently,
That's
but
good.
It is, I think you are getting the bottom of the bottle. So I don't know. It could be a little dicey. I don't know.
Anna, we need more. It's very good. It is very good. So and I see on here that it looks like it has ginger, which I can kind of taste a little of that.
Yeah.
And ginseng. So what's the deal with ginseng? How come that's in there? Is this a health drink?
I can't title it a health drink. I can say that it definitely has a lot less sugar than, and no alcohol, versus like a Campari or Aperol, which I think a lot of people use to make a spritz or to use in a lot of different cocktails, and they're also aperitivos. So,
okay. So let's just press pause. So for people who maybe are not familiar with Philia or with an apertivo, like a Aperol spritz or Campari might be akin. Is that right?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, I would say that's a lot healthier, as an option. But I think that one of the things that we wanted to do was we wanted to make the drink taste sophisticated to the non-drinker, to not make it feel like you're just drinking juice. And so
like a pinky razor.
Yeah. So finding something that gives it that bitter flavor without being too overly bitter. Ginseng came in as one of our options, and I liked the taste because I think a lot of different, I think a lot of our competitors have used different extracts, and I think sometimes that can be a little too overpowering in the bitter department. And so I really wanted to tone it back and find kind of that happy medium. So
we had Brad from Heirloom Bottling on the podcast. I'm not sure if you're familiar with Heirloom, but he was talking about bitters and how many people don't realize like just how important that bitter note is within a cocktail, or, whether it's an alcoholic cocktail or a non-alcoholic cocktail, but that bitter note is really kind of instrumental. So do you start with the bitter note and figure out how to work backwards, or do you start with the other, like the sweeter side, and then like try to raise the profile a little bit? How does that like R&D work?
Yeah. That's a good question.
Is that a weird question?
I'm trying to think about.
I don't know. I'm a food nerd, so I'm like really interested in how you go about doing this.
Yeah. No, it's a great question. I'm trying to think back to what we started with. I think it honestly was more about just the flavor of the overall drink. And what's interesting is you have to start with a base that isn't too overpowering. So typically that's white grape juice and also filtered water. So we started with those as our base. And then a few things that were important to me were bitter, but not too bitter. I liked the floral notes of a lot of different things that I had tried over the years. I also wanted the color to be one that looked appealing, because a lot of products in the market in the non-alc space just are murky and brown, or like some weird color that like no one wants to put that in a glass and have people look at it and be like, what are you drinking? That's, you don't want to draw more attention to that. You want to feel a part of things. So, but then, how do I achieve that while not adding in preservatives and all these like artificial colorants?
Yeah, because you don't want something that's like bright pink unnaturally so either. Like that's kind of weird. That's sort of counterintuitive too.
Right. Yeah. So we went with actually it's something that's used to make a drink red, but it uses all natural ingredients. So it uses like I think it's like beet or something. It's something that keeps it red. So yeah, we were able to achieve that color, and it worked out great.
So, in the few minutes we have left, talk to me more about the R&D process. So you go to Italy, and are you just like tasting all kinds of stuff, talking with like old Italian grandpas and grandmas, like to tell you like what, like was there a lot of this happening like that, like or
I wish.
Could it not be more different?
it was very different. I mean, the R&D didn't really start, I guess, until way after I was in Italy. I definitely became inspired when I lived in Italy because I lived there alone. I didn't have any friends there. I didn't have a community. Wow. I was just alone. Like I moved there for my first semester of my junior year of college, and I decided to just kind of go alone without any friends. And it was just very brave. Yeah, it was a great time for me. So I was able to really observe. I spent a lot of my days just kind of walking around and trying things and just taking in the views. It was great. So I think, when I think about how this all came together, I definitely had a lot of inspiration prior to, when I started Philia and when I started actually working on it and putting pen to paper. But I don't think that I was in any place to start anything at that young of an age. I think that really my real kind of driver was working for these brands after college and figuring out that I could trust myself in going off and doing my own thing. I don't think I would have felt comfortable doing it before. So I think given that experience, once COVID hit, I was able to decide basically that I wanted to move back home to New York. I grew up in Manhattan and I lived in Los Angeles after college. So once COVID hit, I decided to move back home and was home for a while and was like, I need to figure out what is going to make me happy. It was a time of serious reflection. I had never had that type of time to reflect like that. And I was living at home with my mom. We were living in actually the Berkshires, Massachusetts. And I was just kind of figuring out, like going through different job options. I would look on, the internet, like who's hiring, all this stuff. I definitely wanted to move away from what I was already doing. And then I was like, what if I just did my own thing? I had spent all this time learning so much from my experiences in California. Why not do this now? And I was able to figure it out. And I think I probably started the process in a serious way in July of 2020 and launched April of 2021.
Whoa. So what has the reaction from your family been? Because,
Great.
Some people might be like, wow, she's really putting her family out on Front Street here. But I mean, what's the reaction been?
Yeah, I think for the most part, as much as I care about what my family thinks of me and of my story, my parents were divorced. My dad was a single dad. Like it's my story to tell at the end of the day. Yep. And I think my whole family is really supportive of being honest about this stuff because I think they know how hard this all was for me. And I think especially how helpful it would have been for me at the time to have someone to listen to or to look to or to hear that they were going through the same thing as me. So I more so think that, they're just happy that I'm finally talking about it and that I can maybe help somebody else in doing so.
Yeah, I was going to say, they have to be so proud, right? Because you're enabling conversations to happen. You're facilitating those in a really authentic, fun, delicious way. Yeah. So I honestly, this is awesome. Where do you sell to stores or is it online for the most part? Or how can people, if people are like, I want to try this, where can they go?
Yeah. So we sell in a ton of stores. We sell, I think, in over 150 stores around the US. So you can go on our website and you can go to
Excellent.
the top right corner and it'll say find us, and just plug in your zip and you'll be able to see all the different stores and bars and restaurants that serve us or sell us. And we also sell online. So it's pretty easy to kind of get it right to your door. We sell in packs of 1, 2, and 6. You can order
1, 2, and 6. All right.
directly from us and get it in no time. So
excellent. And more to come, right? So if you like this product, stay tuned is what I'm hearing you say. Excellent.
Yeah.
Lily, thank you so much for spending some time with us and having a conversation about a product that you've created to foster conversation. And it is truly delicious. And I'm not just saying that. So thank you so much for being here. If you like this conversation, if you want to find out more about this delicious aperitivo, please consider rating, reviewing, and subscribing to the PrevenTable podcast. Thank you, Lily.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for joining us at The PrevenTable, brought to you ad-free by Prevent+Ed. Prevent+Ed works to reduce or prevent the harms of alcohol and other drug use through education, intervention, and advocacy. Please visit their website at PreventEd.org. Like what you heard? Rate, review, and subscribe to stay up to date with what we are serving on The PrevenTable.